What if you can have the low interest rate of a 10-year loan with the low payment of a 30-year? Sounds smart, right? Introducing the Smart Money Loan from Owning. With a 2.375% rate, 2.819 APR, are fixed for the first 10 years. You can lower your rate and payment and save thousands in interest.
Call 833-2-OWNING to lock in a 2.375% rate, 2.819 APR today. Or we'll ask the questions that we're all wondering and push for the answers we all want. Sports Illustrated Weekly is available every Wednesday on the iHeart-Radio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe now.
Yes. And frankly, it shouldn't be the business of any tech company. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo.
By now, you're wondering what I could possibly tell you about Tahoe Blue Vodka that you don't already know. Well, let's start with the slogan. Tahoe Blue tastes better. Do you know where that came from? You. Tahoe Blue loyalists were asked over and over again why they love it, and they all said it was simple. Tahoe Blue tastes better. Here's something else you might not know. If you can't find it, head to TahoeBlueVodka.com and click on the Where to Find Us icon in the top right. And boom, there's where you can buy it in your own backyard, or scroll down to have it shipped to your door. Also, did you know that because Lake Tahoe is the namesake of their amazing vodka, Tahoe Blue donates a portion of proceeds to support the ongoing relentless efforts to preserve beautiful Lake Tahoe? And fun fact, there are 72 miles of scenic shoreline surrounding Lake Tahoe. And that's why there's Tahoe Blue's Club 72, home to, amongst other things, exclusive deals, promos, prizes, and free swag of the Tahoe Blue Vodka variety. Here's the most important thing. Do you personally know how smooth and amazing Tahoe Blue Vodka is? If not, you're missing out. I've heard self-proclaimed vodka lovers say it's the best they've ever had, and those who swear they never liked vodka fall in love as well. That's why Tahoe Blue tastes better. Check them out online at TahoeBlueVodka.com.
Thankfully, there's ZipRecruiter, which you can try right now for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology finds the right candidates for your job. But unlike other sites, ZipRecruiter goes deeper. ZipRecruiter matches people with people, and you can personally invite your top choices to apply, because the perfect hire is more than a list of qualifications. It's an individual. ZipRecruiter makes hiring the right person easy, and that'll keep you and everyone else very merry.
4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's right, free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Foo Fighters, My Chemical Romance, Slipknot, Kiss, Rob Zombie, Judas Priest, Shinedown, Bring Me the Horizon, Papa Roach, A Day to Remember, Evanescence, Lamb of God, Hailstorm, Falling in Reverse, and more.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.
Over 90 bands on 4 stages over 4 days. Go to AftershockFestival.com for full lineup and get your passes today. Aftershock 2022. The countdown is on for California's biggest rock festival.
Cinematic mode, which lets you focus on what matters. And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks. Now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Download the free of shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free, and you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole-in-one without even trying. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge.
But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99.
You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-229-4150. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800 800-229-4150 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-229-4150 to see if you qualify. That's 800-229-4150.
The Black Information Network is your new choice for 24/7 news. Our stories and all that matters to our community. Listen to the Black Information Network now on the iHeart-Radio app.
I would drink milk. I would sleep upright with more pillows. But that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill in the morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
Block heartburn all day and all night with Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Usually spent out, but since my friends got Xfinity Internet, Friday nights in are where it's at. Because Xfinity has Wi-Fi speeds faster than a gig to power a house full of connected devices all at once. We got our show streaming, playlists bumping, and games galore. That's gig speed Wi-Fi for every great night in. Can your internet do that? Come on, y'all. The coasters aren't just for decoration.
Now through March 7th, ask how to get a special offer of $200 back when you get gig speed internet. Or get started with Xfinity Internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Restrictions apply. New Connect 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig internet and Xfi gateway. Actual speeds vary.
Tuesday, March 22nd, the biggest artists and songs you listened to over the past year on iHeart-Radio will be celebrated on Fox, live from LA, and you can be there. LL Cool J will host and perform. Jennifer Lopez will receive the iHeart-Radio Icon Award. And the biggest stars from pop, hip-hop, country, alternative, rock, R&B, Latin music, and more will all be celebrated. Enter now on this station's website for your chance at a trip to be there. Witness once-in-a-lifetime performances, history-making moments, and so much more at our 2022 iHeart-Radio Music Awards.
To get your free ticket, dial pound 250 and say lottery. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text with more information from iHeartMedia. Dial pound 250, keyword lottery.
Find great deals on new arrivals just in time for spring. Updated floral dresses and shark suits with 15% off. Take time to unwind in soft and comfy pajamas, 25% off. And socks, slippers, and leggings, 20% off. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase, except gift cards, services, and fees. Sign up today at Macy's.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
They go to Newsmax.com for breaking news and watch Newsmax TV for the latest from Washington, New York, Hollywood, and the world. Download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone and watch it anytime, anywhere. Nielsen recently reported that almost 7 million cable viewers watch Newsmax, but not Fox News. Americans really are making the switch to Newsmax. Start every day with Wake Up America and Rob Finnerty. And watch the Newsmax team at night with Eric Bowling, Sean Spicer and Lindsey Keith, Greg Kelly, Stinchfield, Jen Pellegrino, Rob Schmidt, and more. Every weekend, tune in for Huckabee, Diamond and Silk, Dick Morris, Wendy Bell, and more. Already 20 million made the switch and watch Newsmax all the time. Try it. You may never go back.
Stop by and check out our state-of-the-art facility with over 50 service bays and Honda Master Certified technicians to handle all your needs. And an express shuttle service to and from downtown. Having trouble finding the right new or pre-owned vehicle? Cap City Honda has vehicles arriving daily. Conveniently located off the Cap City Freeway by the Hagen Oaks Golf Complex. Proudly serving the Sacramento community and beyond at Capital City Honda. CapCityHonda.com.
Para reparar tu vehículo y sigue igual, te tengo una noticia que te va a cambiar el ánimo. La Ley Limón protege a los consumidores que han sido víctimas de un vehículo defectuoso, o sea, un auto limón. Lamentablemente, esto es muy común, y si este podría ser tu caso, yo te recomiendo llamar a mis amigos del Centro de Acción Legal. Ellos pueden ayudarte a verificar si tu auto es un limón. 877-222-2222.
Let's get ready to rumble!
welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Charlton of Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to people who love sports and never beat me. Round of the Portes, bonjour, I love saying welcome to the show. Today is a beautiful March the 1st, 2022, and I really do appreciate things that are going on with Big C Sports Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 23 podcast applications all over the universe, from Google, Alexa, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeart-Radio Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Podtext Addict, and then Podchaser. Give me some praise. Come on, it's hot. It is hard to count to 10, so I need some praise so I can catch my breath. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on Geosavon Podcast out of London, England, Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Repot Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, and the one that scares me is allfeeds.ai. Give it some praise, because the computers are taking over. Pretty soon they'll start saying we don't need people anymore. But while they still need people, I'll still be doing Big C Sports Podcast when I do. Appreciate that. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming on 4 TV applications: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really appreciate that. Give that some praise on 23 podcast applications and 4 TV applications. I love paying homage to my family legacy. A beautiful March of 2022. On my mother's side, the matriarch of the family called her mama, my great-grandmother. Just a beautiful woman, a smart woman, intelligent woman, always making sure the family stuck together through thick and thin. Even grew her own garden. Really do appreciate her love over the years. And then my great-grandfather, Pop, former Negro League baseball player. And baseball, he'd be so upset today because baseball said strike 1 so far, maybe even strike 2. But he was known around the church. And he's a former Negro League baseball player, also known around the church, making the best moonshine in the universe. They're saying, boys, get out of that barn. Boys, get out of that barn. How many times I got to tell you? You know I'm working on lightning. That's a security system. Oh, man, really do appreciate that. And then my grandmother, Madia, a wonderful woman, a beautiful woman, very smart, hardworking, industrious, a seer. She could look at people and tell you a lot about that person, past, present, and also future. Really do appreciate her wisdom to this day. And then my grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful gentleman that always did what he could to keep the family strong. And then my beautiful mother, the most beautiful mother in the history of the universe, always saying rise and shine, helped start a Head Start program, a food program, and helped win the Little League Championship of the universe. That's why I love giving mama praise every day. Come on, praise. I said praise. A Head Start program, a food program, and also help win the Little League Championship of the universe. That's why I love saying give mama praise, always saying rise and shine. And then on my father's side of the family, the patriarch of the family is Albert Curry, my grandfather, a former pastor, had 2 churches in Oakland, California, also built the 3rd one in Central California, and then had 2 service stations in Oakland. Really do appreciate how smart and hardworking he was. And right there, side by side, my grandmother, Alberta Curry, helping my grandfather with the churches, also the 2 service stations in Oakland, and then building a third church in Central California. And my father, former Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, making sure planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. And boy, do we need to stay safe, especially what's going on across the world. And then my beautiful brother Todd, always sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Again, I always say our favorite movie was Scarface, but we thought it was too violent, so we settled on Pulp Fiction. Excuse me, did I break your concentration? And I love getting away with this, that when Vin Rames told Bruce Willis, your butt goes down in the 4th round, say that blippity blip blip. And he said, that stinking sensation you're feeling, that's pride flipping with you. Well, flip pride. Oh, it gives me good. I just strike. Not a strike. Flip pride. I love saying flip pride. Todd appreciates that. And then I just had a lot of laughter while watching that movie. And then my beautiful daughter, Daisy, a college graduate with 2 degrees and honors, graduated 3.5 years from a major university, actually helped me set up my very first interview with Big C Sports back at Salem Media. Also would help me set up when coaches that come to the West Coast and interact with Big C Sports. I really do appreciate her. And then my beautiful son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. And I always say my kids are the most handsome ever. And of course, that's true. Really do appreciate Malcolm, a college student, very smart, Wakanda forever. Remember that, Malcolm, never let anything come between you and your family. And then also, Malcolm's very all over the NBA, knows NBA inside and out, gives me a lot of stats, and really do appreciate him with all of his knowledge. And then Big C with all of his wealth of knowledge in the past. I want to say, give everybody some praise. You got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. And that's why I love giving praise for Big C Sports Podcast. And I think I'm the only one sports show that says I walk by faith and not by sight. I love doing that. And my grandfather started this, what a lot of boxing promoters are doing now. He would do that with his church buddies. He would say, let's get ready to rumble. He would always do that as he started with the moonshine. But I say welcome to the show, ESPY-nominated Big C Sports Podcast. And I mean that because I have no scripts. I have no teleprompters, no producer in my ear. And oftentimes when you watch on television, they have a staff of people up on the TV screen, and they're just trying to help each other produce the show. And that's nothing wrong with that, but I can do it on my own. I always walk by faith and not by sight. I produce the show. I direct all the topics. I broadcast the shows. I do all of the sound effects that are provided by the agency. You can all use for laughter in our life. I really love doing that. Try it sometimes. Not as easy as it sounds. The commercials are done. The stats provided, the storytelling. Really appreciate the agency out of New York. And then the play-by-play, like oftentimes you'll hear, Steph Curry 4-3, and the crowd gets on their feet and gives them praise. Really like what John Morant did, like dunking over a 7-footer for San Antonio. But back in the days of the Bad Boys, he would have got an elbow to the chest. So I'm not impressed by a guy stepping away and letting the guy dunk over him. It's all for theater. That's my opinion of it. A great dunk nonetheless, especially took an inbound pass and then caught it from one end of the floor to the other and jumped in the air, grabbed the ball, and shot it and went through the hoop. That was amazing. Now, that's Showtime, like L.A. style back in the day when Magic Johnson had Showtime with the Lakers. But really good stuff. And then I upload the show. It goes out to 23 multiple podcast applications and 4 TV applications. I'd never missed a show since starting Big C Sports back on September the 12th, 2015. Give that some praise. Started at Salem Media and went on from there, and then Big C Sports was born. I love doing this portion. I think I'm the only sports show, and I might be wrong, but I hear more and more people trying it. I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that always honors God. Grew up in the church, and I often heard one of my favorite verses, Genesis chapter 13, verse 15. It says, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. And the book of James chapter 4, verse 2 said, you have not because you ask not. So if you want something, just ask. The answer's always yes or no, and give asking some praise. Give the good book some praise. We all got to ask for something. The answer's either yes or no. It's always no if you don't ask. I also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones or electronic devices and say play Big C Sports Podcast, and it will come up anywhere in the world. Didn't always happen that way, but it's amazing how the land that thou seest will I give you. Genesis 13:15 have been speaking Big C Sports into existence long before it was even on the air. I didn't wait for the show to start. I didn't wait for the sponsors to come on board. I started speaking it into existence, and before you know it, then there was Big C Sports Podcast, and then other people pick it up too. Really do appreciate that. And I'm telling you, there's so much in life that I've been just speaking, like the $100 million, speaking that into existence. A lot of great things are happening. Don't care about what people think. In fact, don't even share what you're doing with people unless they're on your team, because people can try to pull you down until you realize that you made it anyway. So always go forward, always rise and shine. And I want to give rising and shining some praise. Everybody needs someone to lean on at times, but you got to make sure you do it and don't worry about who's there with you. I want to also appoint people, especially young African Americans, to Forbes magazine. If you look at the top sports agents that are in the world of sports, in fact, it's all over the universe. You'll see sports marketing agents is growing. In fact, sports agents in 2021, they contributed over $41.2 billion in contracts. In sports, that business is increasing. And so I was talking to one of the top sports agents in the United States and going to be doing some work with him. Really do appreciate him inviting me onto his platform. I just got to finish my certifications. You want to drive a car, you got to get your driver's license. I know people that don't even have a driver's license, and they say, I can drive anyway. But you need one in order to do the business, so I really do appreciate that. And that will be done by 2022 this year, so really appreciate that, as Big C Sports has been given opportunity to rise and shine, develop my mind to the highest extent, because when you rise and shine every day, people notice. And people can say, when you're ready, the teacher will come. Well, you don't stop no matter how hard things are, no matter how people turn against you, no matter what people say behind your back. Just keep God first and give God praise, and you'll make it. It's all coming. All's fair and all's fair in love and war. I really do appreciate that. But the sports marketing agency, the top agency in the United States, think about this, made in 1 year over $160 million. Didn't hit a touchdown, didn't score, or did I say didn't hit a touchdown? I caught myself on that one. Didn't score a touchdown. Didn't hit a home run. Didn't hit a three-point play. He didn't hit a touchdown. Maybe I'm thinking about baseball coming up. They need to hit a touchdown since they can't hit home runs. Now, I like that one. I came back, recovered myself. Baseball decided they want to take some time and keep arguing about, I guess, having $300 and $400 million contracts. It's not enough for some people in baseball and the Baseball Players Association. All fair and love and war. But when you look at sports marketing agencies, it's a phenomenal industry, and most of it is fueled by black men becoming the talent that these athletes or that the agents will sign. Isn't that something? As more and more people have been distracted about, I can't get a job with the NFL. They won't even give me an interview. I've tried to interview. I've been an offensive coordinator for years, and they won't give me a chance. That's dumb. Because you only got 3 African-American coaches in the NFL that's 75% African-American. And think about what happened in sports. Sports marketing agencies. Sports. Just like the movie, Show Me the Money. I think it was Jerry Maguire back in the day. When you think about FIFA, they allowed 10% commissions to the agents. Major League Baseball, 5%. And then also the NHL and the NBA allow 4% to the agents. And then NFL caps at 3%. And if you look at the 2021 NFL draft, I believe the first out of the top 10 draft picks, 5 were represented by black men. That's a clue. They weren't begging some white owner to give them an interview. They weren't begging someone to, hey, look at my resume, and I put in my time as an offensive or defensive coordinator, and I've actually been to the AFC Championship game 4 years in a row. I've been in Super Bowls, and we won a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. I've had all the excuses and the shenanigans, and there's nothing wrong with that if you want to get it into the NFL and be a coach for 3 years and then get fired when you have a losing record. And there are guys with losing records, never had a winning record, and still got jobs. But black men are growing as sports marketing agents more so than head coaches in the NFL. Same thing with the NBA. They're not begging someone to give them an interview. They just get certification. And ironically, if you look at the white sports agents, and they know it's true, and what I say, you can check it. Most of these white sports agents, the only time they see black men is when they try to recruit you. They don't grow up with you. They don't hang out with you. They don't know your family. They don't invite you to their barbecues unless you can help them put some money in their pockets. That's the only time they need you. And that's a fact. If I was not telling the truth about that, in your clause, it could be when you sign with teams, they could tell these owners, my person would like to also get into coaching once his playing days are over. They could put that in the contract. You hear Troy Aikman is going to change from Fox over to ESPN for Thursday Night Football. And they're already saying that Troy Aikman is going to command $17 million a year. Now, I like Troy Aikman as an athlete. He played at Henrietta, Oklahoma, and then he actually went to Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma with Barry Switzer, broke his leg in a game against Miami, and Barry Switzer called Terry Donahue at UCLA and said, I got a guy who can throw the football. And then he ended up going to UCLA. They never won a Rose Bowl, but he did win 3 Super Bowls with the Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and them good old boys down in Dallas. And with Troy Aikman, I don't watch football to listen to Troy Aikman talk, but they're going to give him $17 million for what? Because that's what it pays. But he's also a white man. And they're opening doors for guys who look like him to get into broadcast. Now, if anyone can tell me they only watched the game because Troy Aikman was watching it, you're lying. Not knocking Troy Aikman, but he and Tony Romo both come out of that Dallas Cowboy pedigree, and they're getting opportunities for they're making more money to talk on television than some guys make for playing. Touchdown, home run, 3-point play. And they're getting that money. The only thing is they're white men. And they only make up 25% of the league. Well, while people say, well, maybe that's not fair, not knocking anybody, get what you can, but they know they got it because they fit the profile of these TV executives looking for that kind of guy. But you know the profile that's looking for black men? Sports marketing agents. Because the top black man that represents the top contracts in football controls over $4 billion in contracts. Billion with a B. He's not asking the networks to put him on television so he can call black men running touchdown. That's not what he's asking for. I'm not knocking anybody in sports. I want $17 million. But I know it's a better chance for me to make $17 million as a sports marketing agent and get myself 10 to 15 athletes. That's where the millions come from. They're black men anyway, just like I am. I remember when I was in college playing ball and then working around the NFL, the NBA, a lot of these guys are black men. Their agents happen to be Caucasian because for so many years they kept black men out of it. Those days are over. So instead of just begging someone to give you a job, the smart black men are getting their sports marketing agent certifications. And it's easier for a black man to recruit a black athlete because you grew up around them, whether they're brothers or cousins or uncles or children and friends of children. When you watch the AAU league all over the country, those are mostly black men and their children playing in the AAU circuit. That's where a lot of the young talent's been discovered. And then as they get to the higher ranks in college, I know some of the top college prospects in the country working around the Cal High sports circuit over the last 20 years or so. And oftentimes that's their first indoctrination into white men that say, hey, man, you have the skills to make it. And they want you to sign a contract with them. But after you finish with your playing days, your days are over. They have nothing to do with you. But there are a lot of black men that see that sea change. And they're getting into that business. So I'm going to say probably in the next 3 or 4 years, you're going to see people not begging someone to give them an interview. Because the money's made by representation. You control that. If you're a coach, you may get 3-year opportunity. Mike Tomlin, he's lucky. He's had 15 seasons, never had a losing record with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But there are not a lot of families like the Rooney family. They're fair. They don't need the Rooney rule. They've been very fair, and they know that. Okay? They already know how to treat people fair. Based on merit. Not based on, hey, you're my good old friend from college and you hung out with my frat brothers. That's how a lot of white guys that I knew got work. They hung out with the frat brothers. I know guys in the Bay Area. I work with nearly all of them. But my show is very talented. They can't do what I'm doing. Ask any of them. They cannot do a show on their own. I know I worked with many of them. Not knocking names, not knocking them. But they know it's true. I produce, I direct, I do commercials, I do writing, I do all of that stuff. And I get this far on my own. And oftentimes they have to have a whole crew of people just to get anywhere. I'm not knocking anybody, but I'm saying game recognizes game. And it took a black man to recognize what I'm doing with Big C Sports and say, man, you do this on your own? How do you do this show on your own? I say I do it with God, my higher self. It's not just me. People have poured into me all my life. But I also know I've hit that invisible ceiling, that invisible door. I've seen it too. And so all I'm saying is, like the man told me who's a multi-millionaire, he said, do the broadcast podcast all you want. But when you want to hit 7 figures, you got to represent multi-million-dollar athletes, and I want to give that some praise because he told me the truth. You can talk on TV all you want. You can talk on podcast and radio all you want. But the money is in the game, in the athletes. Those are the ones who the owner signing contracts to. But a lot of athletes, they don't negotiate their own contract. They use agents to do that. And so give that some praise. Big C Sports Podcast in 2022, joining that role, actually being recruited into that role of sports marketing agents. Really do appreciate that. I also want to say to the California Lottery and the Fantasy 5 and sports, Powerball, Super Lotto, Mega Millions, all that's out there. People buy tickets. And I'm going to win that lottery. I keep saying, I've seen the winning numbers. I believe that. If you eat enough Big C burgers, see a lot of numbers. But the point is, I really do appreciate sports. And Steve Mariucci, former coach of the 49ers, had a PSA during the playoffs where he talked about people that bet too much money. They get in and they can't afford to get out of it. Some people just get addicted to it, like being addicted to smoking. It's hard to stop for some people. But you can call 800-GAMBLER, that's 800-GAMBLER. If you have issues, you want to go out and get some help. And so I really do appreciate Coach Mariucci, who's now with the NFL Network. Give that some praise, letting gamblers know if you need help, there's help out there, but you got to reach out to it. Also, I want to say, especially in today's climate, the Veterans Crisis Hotline, my goodness, they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. Nearly all of my elders in my family, many were in the military, whether there's the Army, the Air Force, or the Marines, and really do appreciate what they've done for this country. If you know any veterans going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, and they will stand on their head to get you some help. You can also text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and give our veterans some help, because you give them some praise, they deserve it. Everybody needs someone to lean on. We all do. Really do appreciate that. And finally, I want to say thank you to Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. Sports fans, when you're watching the big game, you want to eat the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this got it mean? Also coming soon, the Big C coffee. The coffee that's so big, it makes people say, why does the cup gotta be so big? Also coming soon, the Big C cookie. It tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hand. Why does your cookie gotta be so big? I can't hold it. Oh my God, my stomach hurts. Sometimes you gotta just laugh and make everything good. Take what's called the Big Pause, also known as the Big C Time. And when I come back, I'm gonna talk about more things that are going on around the sports universe. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe, including on 4 TV applications. Really do appreciate that. As you get into baseball, ironically, just looking at what's going on in the world of baseball, today is a beautiful March the 1st, 2022. And ironically, whenever you pull up any timetable for baseball, we're supposed to be in spring training. But I'm going to read off today's baseball schedule for March 1st, 2022. Houston at Atlanta, canceled. Last year's World Series. New York Mets at Miami, canceled. Baltimore at Minnesota, canceled. Tampa Bay at the New York Yankees, canceled. St. Louis at Washington, canceled. Detroit at Philadelphia, canceled. Boston at Pittsburgh, canceled. Detroit at Toronto, canceled. Kansas City at Chicago White Sox, canceled. LA Dodgers at Oakland A's, canceled. Chicago Cubs at Texas, canceled. San Francisco Giants at Chicago Cubs, canceled. Seattle at Milwaukee, canceled. Cleveland, this is for you, at Colorado, canceled. Los Angeles Angels at San Diego, canceled. Arizona at Cincinnati, canceled. Why is that? Why is that canceled? Because baseball can't seem to get along for some reason. Out of Jupiter, Florida, players have rejected Major League Baseball's best and final offer to end the sports lockout before the league's deadline to avoid canceled games. Major League Baseball made its last offer about 90 minutes before its self-imposed 5 p.m. deadline. And a news conference from St. Louis Cardinals Spring Training Complex, Major League Baseball Commissioner, the great Rob Manfred, said the first 2 regular season series will be canceled due to the lack of an agreement for the Cardinals. That means 5 games into the start of the season at Pittsburgh and the Chicago Cubs. You know what that means? It means they're canceled. I mean, they're not going to play them. And that's crazy because baseball makes so much money and they want more money. And who doesn't want more money in life? But baseball is not the highest rated sport on television either. Football is, and then basketball, and then baseball. So the earliest deal could be reached as Thursday, Manfred said, after making progress. They figured out they're going to try to kill the game. I don't know why. People can't get along. Somebody wants more money than the others. But they had, when you think about it, 16 and a half hours of bargaining on Monday, and the sides exchanged new offers on Tuesday, and they're deciding that they don't want to play baseball. They think the fans will come back no matter what. So Major League Baseball proposed raising the luxury tax threshold from $210 million to $220 million in each of the next 3 seasons, $224 million in 2025 and $230 million in 2026. Unchanged from its prior offer, the players asked for $238 million this year, $244 million in 2023, $250 million in 2024, $256 million in 2025, and $263 million in 2026. That's just crazy. How much more do they need? So right now they really have $0 million. So Major League Baseball, I mean, when you think about people dealing with all the issues that COVID brought on in our economy, the service industry, and you hear these baseball good old boys saying they need more money. Now, Major League Baseball proposed raising the minimum salary from $570 million to $570,000 to $700,000 this year, after we just got through COVID. That's Major League Baseball's proposal. The minimum salary at $570,000 to $700,000, and the player said, nope, not enough money. Up from his previous offer of $675,000, and that included increases of $10,000 annually. The union had asked for $725,000 this year, $745,000 in 2023, $765,000 in 2024, and increased for 2025 and 2026 based on the Commissioner's Price Index for the urban wage earners. Now, Major League Baseball, it offered to have the 5 top picks in the amateur draft determined by a lottery. Major League Baseball would expand the postseason to 12 teams. Football had success with that. And the figure the union prefers to management's original request to 14 teams to get more cities involved. So when you think about it, why is baseball trying to kill the golden goose? When you hear about salaries, baseball proposing minimums of $700,000, how many people in mainstream society would take a $700,000 job? That's per year. That's a lot of money. And people think, well, I'm not going to the game, so it's gonna take money out of the owner's pocket. Not really. They've already opened up gaming. People will gamble on sports. The sports leagues are behind that. They don't need your butt to sit in the seat. If they do, that's even nicer. Buy your $10 hot dog and $15 beer for those who want to do that. But they're getting their money from streaming and TV revenue. They're not really concerned with you sitting at the stadium or not. They still make the money. They have so much money. Now, the St. Louis Cardinals, they remain hopeful that a resolution can be reached in time to prevent any games at Busch Stadium from being impacted. So you can go in there and buy your $12 beers. And so they continue to prepare their tradition-filled home opener Thursday, April 7th. That's probably not going to happen. And they're looking forward to getting this season underway as soon as possible. And the Mets star pitcher Max Scherzer and free agent reliever Andrew Miller, they were present for the talks and the 9th straight day of bargaining and the 90th day of the lockout. Now, baseball is going to try to test the patience of the public. They know there will always be people who go, but not necessarily so. Look at the Texas Rangers. They built this $1 billion ballpark down in Arlington, and because of COVID, they couldn't have fans in there. And now their home opener is delayed for this year. So the commissioner, Rob Manfred, said that Monday was the last possible day to reach an agreement that would allow the minimum time needed for spring training in order to play the openers that were scheduled on March 31st. That means they would have had to start today. And I just read off when I started the show, everybody's canceled. Now, the union said that it didn't necessarily agree to the time frame and that players are working out at Major League Baseball facilities in Florida, Arizona, and other places around the country. But why do we even have to get here? That doesn't make any sense. It's not as if they're trying to say we want to cap you guys at $70,000 a year. They're talking $700,000, and the players are saying no, that's not enough money. But they want the fans that are not making $700,000 to come fill the stadiums, buying tickets at $50 to $100 to sometimes $300 or $400 for a ticket, depending on where you're sitting. In some cities, $1,000. Isn't that something? Now, the sides did agree Monday, subject to an overall deal to expand the postseason from 10 to 12 teams rather than 14 that Major League Baseball had hoped for. Half the teams make the playoffs. It would be good for other cities. It gets people involved. Look at what happened with football this year. The union also believed there was an understanding on luxury tax rates, which management had been postponing or proposing to substantially steepen while eliminating higher penalties for spenders, for high spenders. So if whatever happens with baseball, it doesn't make any sense. Players would lose about $20.5 million in salary for each day of the season that is canceled, according to a study by the Associated Press. And the 30 teams would lose large sums that are harder to pin down. Spring training games were to have begun Saturday, but baseball's ninth work stoppage since 1995 already has led to exhibitions being canceled all the way through March 7th. So nothing's going to happen prior to March 7th. Not since August 30th of 2022 has Major League Baseball come this close to losing regular season games to labor strife. Is that crazy? If you're going to a game, whether it's New York, San Francisco, Miami, Seattle, Chicago, Dallas, there's a lot of people who love this game. And it's not going to happen. They're already going to postpone some games, even if they have an amended season. Isn't it amazing that with COVID, they're asking fans who dealt with COVID, where you could not attend games, and ultimately a lot of people perished because of COVID. Now they're saying, we rich people are going to make you guys suffer. It's not just about the players. Who cares if a guy is making $700,000 or $7 million a year, or some guys $25 million a year? It's not about them. It's about the vendors. It's about the restaurants outside of the beautiful stadiums. Those are the people that suffer. It's about the people the service community. They work for tips. They love when you have games and people come to town and buy tickets for your stadium, and by the time the game's over, if they still have any money left over that hasn't been sucked out of them by Major League Baseball prices for beverages, etc., something to eat, then they can go down the street and go to a local restaurant and just find some entertainment. Baseball's telling those restaurants, no, season is going to be pushed back because we have people who want more money. More money than most people will ever make in their lifetime, at least in 1 year at a time. But I'm not knocking anybody. Baseball decided that they want, and then they could have fixed this a long time ago. We just came off of a great football season. Super Bowl 56 was amazing, and it had I think 112 million people watch it, and baseball can't even get out of the parking lot. And I was so much looking forward to what I always do for baseball season. Runners on first and third, they count for the pitch. Swung on, hit deep, right field, back to home run. Say hello to my little friends. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. But right now they're striking out, and they're striking out on purpose because they need more money. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, just like Major League Baseball. We're going to go on pause. But I'll be back in just a moment, unlike baseball. All right, we're back on the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 23 podcast applications all over the universe, and streaming on 4 TV applications all's fair in love and war. So unlike the great Ryan Stewart, and I was hoping I could just pay homage to Ryan Stewart, tonight's the night. Come on, get that some praise, great Ryan Stewart. But he got, tonight's not the night now for Major League Baseball, even in the spring league. It doesn't make any sense, but they decided they didn't want to do it. Get my media credential all shined up for the San Francisco Giants and the Oakland A's. And right now, no one can do anything about that. And I really think about the vendors that make their money when baseball's in season. There's a lot of people who they count on it's seasonal work, like the farmers. It's seasonal work, and they count on baseball coming, especially over in Oakland where you have the vendors that work around the Coliseum in Oakland. They've lost football. They've also lost NBA. And so for the business where people go into Oakland oftentimes because of where the Coliseum is located, there's not a lot of eateries outside of the Coliseum. So people have to go down BART or drive up Interstate 880 and go elsewhere to get a bite to eat. But still, even those industries where people go to the Coliseum and set up, and that's how they bring in money for their families too. I know some of the drivers that drive from the Oakland airport that takes people over to the stadium, well, they don't have people to take on the shuttle either. So it affects everybody. But I understand that's part of labor, part of life. We all deal with that. But tonight's NBA basketball, they decided that they got their groove together. And then John Morant had a great game, dropping 52 points, scored 98 points in his last 2 games. Did his thing last night over the San Antonio Spurs. But back in the day of the Bad Boys, there's no way someone who weighs about 170 pounds is going to fly down the middle of the paint and slam dunk over a 7-foot, 260-pound man. He would have gotten an elbow through the chest, but even the defender said he backed away so he wouldn't get the foul. Come on, that's not how basketball is played. You have more resistance in the slam dunk competition than that last night. Even though it looked good, that's not how basketball is played. You're supposed to hit that guy if he's going to foul you or come into the lane like that and try to get a poster on you. But at the time, he decided he wanted to just step back. That's not Coach Popovich's type of defense. Not Tim Duncan, but not a back down from that. Neither would the Admiral David Robinson have backed out. But players are different nowadays. All's fair in love and war. Tonight's Tuesday, March the 1st, 2022. The Detroit Bad Boys definitely would not have backed down. You try to bring that stuff on Lane Beer or Dennis Rodman back in the day or Mahorn, no way he would have done those good old boys back in the day. But Detroit's at Washington. Atlanta's playing at Boston. That's on TNT already. They've already tipped off in those games. Now, Brooklyn's at Toronto. Brooklyn got beat down the other night. That game is Toronto up in Canada. And you have the LA Clippers down in Texas taking on the Houston Rockets. The Golden State Warriors at Minnesota trying to get their groove back after their last-second loss. It wasn't a last-second loss before the All-Star break to Denver, but then they had a 21-point lead. They let it get away, and the Dallas Mavericks came in to Chase Center. So they need to get out of town for a couple of days back in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they're taking on the Timberwolves. And then the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic taking his show down south to the Oracle.com Arena in the LA Lakers. That tips off at 7 o'clock p.m. on TNT. And you just wonder if the fans will also boo the Los Angeles Lakers, because the Lake Show, they've been limping across the finish line. I was still believing that if they have Anthony Davis, they're a playoff team. And they're hanging on by the skin of their teeth right now. They can't afford to get blown out tonight by the Dallas Mavericks, even though Dallas has a team that's playing exceedingly well. And the Lakers right now, I've never really seen the Lakers have such a poor showing, especially at home. When you have King LeBron James and you have Russell Westbrook, obviously, they got to have some things that work in their favor for the Lakers. I know they got rid of one of their thorns in the side, they thought, today with the LA Lakers, but it's still, even for NBA basketball, for people who don't like the LA and they say, I hate LA, and they know that the Lakers, when the Lakers are playing, basketball is better. Just like the Boston Celtics, they're playing good basketball right now. And when the Boston Celtics are doing great, NBA is better, especially in the Eastern Conference. And with the Lakers, when they're playing great, it's also better in the Western Conference and in basketball as a whole. But there's some NBA talking heads out there. They think about Russell Westbrook and LA trade they must make this summer. I don't know if they have to trade Westbrook at all. He just has to be a guy that makes passes instead of trying to make shots. We just saw that happen with Ben Simmons going from Philadelphia to Brooklyn. But there's a lot of people making waves in the ocean of Los